Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nürburgring for race 8 of the season for ADAC GT4 Germany, race 2 of the weekend. Yesterday we kicked off the second half of the season in fine style. Over 81,000 spectators here at the Nürburgring this weekend, and they were absolutely stunned by some incredible racing yesterday. What a fight we had. It was glorious and hot yesterday. It's still pretty hot today, just not quite as hot. 26.1 degrees centigrade is way more sensible to go racing here in the ADAC GT4 Germany. You would have seen yesterday it was Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philipp Gogerlock who crossed the line first, having started on pole position, taking the top step of the podium. Second across the line was Denny Berndt. He'd been sharing the ADAC MX Motorsport Porsche with Lachlan Robinson, and they stood on the podium too, but it was later in the afternoon that the stewards got involved. You may remember a sensational, got their first podiums of the season. They were up into third place. It had big implications in the championship. It meant that the car that you've just seen in the background there, the number 4 Cozy Racing by ESM Aston Martin, with Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philipp Gogerlock at the wheel, moves to the top of the championship from third place. So they now lead the way. Denny Berndt and Lachlan Robinson, as a result of that penalty, still there very much in the championship hunt, but 6 points back. But for this race 8, let battle recommence, because those two cars are starting on the front row of the grid. It was Philipp Gogerlock this time who qualified on pole position as he waves to the camera. So both he and his co-driver starting on pole position, qualifying on pole position for the races this weekend. But alongside them, the number 31 car of Denny Berndt. But in the background on the second row, Hugo Schwartz in the Toyota Supra, who was something of a star last time out at Oschersleben. And Hendrik Still also there as well, leading for the Pro-Ams. It's looking like it could be quite a race, because Benjamin Silvesterson, who shares the car along with Gabriella Piana, has qualified in 5th place, very, very much within striking distance. Piana and Silvesterson with 101 points, 15 points back from Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philipp Gogerlock, with Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz. They are 4th in the championship, 22 points back, ahead of Alain Gabet and Maxi Schreier 5th. They are 24 points back. Alain Gabet has qualified the car in 7th place, and as already mentioned, Hudson Schwartz in 3rd place. So all the main championship contenders at the right end of the grid. The engines are running. We're 45 seconds away from the formation lap starting. I can hardly wait for this. Chris Hartley alongside me. We were so entertained yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah, that battle for second place, absolutely mega. In the end, they both tripped up, didn't they? One with damage to the car and tumbling down the field, Benjamin Silvesterson in the BMW, and then post-race, the penalty for Denny Berndt in the Porsche for VIA WNS Motorsport. And it kind of all falling into the hands of the race winners yesterday and pole sitters today. Philipp Gogerlock with the start today in that Cozy Racing Aston Martin, after he and his teammate Jan-Philipp Springhob picked up their 3rd win. 7 races so far. Everybody else combined. The number of podiums and top 4 finishes that they have had than some of the others. So they've had more wins, but they've only got a slender points lead. However, they just keep keeping out of trouble, don't they? Which is a key thing in this championship, which is only 12 rounds long. Keeping out of trouble at the Nürburgring, though, at the start of the lap, as we've just seen in the DTM, at the start of the race, is not easy, because when they filter down into that first corner, it gets tight.
Yes, what a challenge that could be. Yes, it's pole position for Philipp Gogerlock with Denny Berndt alongside. Then it's Hudson Schwartz and Hendrik Still, Benjamin Silvesterson and Alexander Christensen next up. Then Alain Gabet and Philipp Viskersen line up on row 4 of the grid. On row 5, it's Lucas Stiefelhagen and Roman Feldegg. And then Jack James, good qualifying from him, with Frederick Zebis alongside him. Oscar Dix lines up 13th. Not strong qualifying from him. And Lewis Moser, they are 13th and 14th, row 7 of the grid. Daniel Drexel and Marius Schmid line up next, and on row 9, Jonathan Engstrom and Gianni van der Kratz. Hamish Forrest, another British driver, lines up on row 10 with Lawrence Rule for company. It's the 3rd pole position for Philip Goglock in his career as an ADAC GT4 driver. And there you can see the confirmation. 6 points between 1st and 2nd in the championship. And Bjarne Silvestersen, Schwartz and Cartel very much in it. There's still going to be 100 points available after this race. We've still got another couple of rounds to go, so still plenty to play for in this race. Because of their win yesterday, Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Goglock, who's doing the first stint, have an additional 15 kilograms of success ballast on board. That may well affect them. Still picking up debris from the DTM race. There was rather a lot of that, I think. Viskersen and Harner have an additional 10 kilograms, and Link and Moser an additional 5 kilograms on account of finishing on the podium yesterday. We'll see how that all shakes out, because we've got 60 minutes plus 1 lap of racing with a mandatory stop and driver change coming somewhere near halfway through. Are you ready for battle to recommence? Race 8 of a 12-race season, ADAC GT4 Germany here at the Nürburgring. And we are go. The cars fan out as we head towards that very tricky turn 1. That was Oscar Dix getting really close to the wall, near into the pit lane. But into turn 1 we come under braking. Philip Goglock, with all that extra weight on board, gets the Aston Martin slowed down. But a great start from Hudson Schwartz, trying to get up into 2nd place. Denny Burnt now fighting back, has the inside line into turn 2. So the fight for 2nd place commencing, and that allows Philip Goglock just to break clear a little bit. But everybody now filing around turns 3 and 4. A lot of drivers see this as the opportunity to try and gain some positions, but they need to keep it off that grass. It's very dusty, no grip to be had there. But Goglock in control, and now finally Denny Burnt wrestles that 2nd place back. Hudson Schwartz settles into 3rd place. Frederick Zebis, we're running on board with him there, didn't even get to sit in the car yesterday on account of Nicholas Guillaume having a bit of a moment in the early stages of the race. So now he is getting his first taste of racing this weekend. Everybody streaming out of turn 7, a slight downhill towards turn 8, taken absolutely flat, then is uphill towards the chicane, running side by side in towards the chicane. The number 26 car there with Roman Feldegg at the wheel. Needs to stay out of trouble, coming steaming up the inside. The number 8 car with Marius Schmid at the wheel. Out of the chicane they come. Everybody's still fighting for position. Into turn 10 and 11 they come out onto the pit straight. First lap completed. Philip Goglock with the lead over Denny Burnt. Hudson Schwartz, Henrik Still in 4th place. Benjamin Silvestersen in that 5th, ahead of Alain Gabet. But a challenge for the lead into turn 1. We look down from our drone a little bit further back from the 2 leaders, but we saw there just briefly in the picture, Goglock and Burnt running side by side. Everybody still fighting for those positions in the early laps. And there's a car that spun around again. Is that Frederick Zebis? I think it might have been. So the car that was in the dramas early yesterday, back in the dramas today.
Yeah, so it was largely well behaved, wasn't it, at the front end of the field? The big ding-dongs were going on a little bit further back, and that's all ended in tears, as we've just seen. It was a luck at the inside, wasn't it, though, into turn 1, start of lap 2 from Denny Burnt. It was all that entertainment yesterday in his battle with the BMW of Benjamin Silvestersen, but in the end he stays in 2nd place behind Goglock's Aston Martin. Schwartz solid in 3rd place. He was actually all over Denny Burnt at the first half of lap 1 to try and get that 2nd place away from the Porsche driver, but the Toyota staying in 3rd place. Great qualifying for Hendrik Still in the number 32 Porsche. He and his teammate Tim Horrell were comfortably ahead of anybody else in the Pro-Am category in qualifying, and got another Pro-Am class win yesterday. So they're running in 4th place. Silvestersen in 5th place in that blue and yellow number 51 BMW. Couldn't make up any ground for FK Performance.
So race control will be taking a look at the incident you just saw. That was indeed involving Frederick Zebis and Roman Feldegg, but everybody just looking for that every very last position, particularly on the opening lap of the race. It looks so everyone has survived. We've still got a full field of cars running, but at the moment, Philip Goglock leading the way. That car, 15 kilograms heavier than it was yesterday, and it almost looks like it's a little bit heavier under braking. You can almost see it. Denny Byrne looking very nimble there in second place. We're quite eager to get past the number 4 car. Of course, it's about picking up consistent points. Mustn't end up in a gravel trap, because that could seriously hamper your championship prospects. At the moment, Benjamin Silvesterson, for my money, has been one of the entertainers of the season. He's in the traffic at the moment in 5th place. You can see the leaders, but he's got the very experienced Henrik Still ahead of him. Because although Henrik Still is part of a Pro-Am pairing, he is certainly the more experienced of the 2 drivers. And there is the number 49 car that finished ultimately in a podium position yesterday with Lewis Moser at the wheel. So congratulations to them for that job done. But directly behind, Marius Schmid is in there as well, and trying to put the pressure onto them.
There's a big old gap, isn't there, between the top 6 and that second group of cars, which is led by the yellow and blue KRT Racing Ginetta, driven in this stint by Alexander Christiansen. It was 2.1 seconds, the gap from 6th to 7th, after just a couple of laps of racing. That's a pretty huge gap. So the Ginetta driver will try and bring the BMW of Viskersen and Stiefelhagen with him, but that BMW, one of them, is going to end up with a problem going straight into the pit lane. Viskersen clearly with some sort of issue, headed for an unscheduled stop, I'm afraid.
Yeah, yesterday's second place finisher peeling off into the pits. Right, Goglock leading the way, defending like mad into turn 1. He's been given a track limit warning in turn 2. So clearly the Aston Martin not enjoying the level of grip and handling that it had yesterday. And once again, track limits are somewhere out near the car park, I think.
Kind of all followed him off the road, though, didn't
yeah,
they?
they did. It's like you follow the leader. I wonder if he's got a flat. Looks a bit down on the right rear of that number 77 car. Although there's nobody coming out. Yes, there is. So let's have a look, see if we can get some clues as to what happened here. Was running in 8th place, attacking the curbs maybe a little bit too hard.
Right rear.
Yeah, the right rear. Yes, into the pitch to have that puncture replaced, tyre replaced there. But that is a bit of a disaster for the driver at the car and driver that finished in 2nd place yesterday. So the team get the work. Of course, it's not like in DTM with performance pit stops. You've got to get the wheel nuts on, drop them, pick them up again. Is quite a lot of work just to change one wheel on one of these cars. Right, here we go. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all running together. Benjamin Silvesterson coming under pressure from Alain Gabet in the Avia Dubness Porsche. So Silvesterson would want to be fighting forwards, but those Porsches, he's got one in front, one behind, ganging up on him, feeling bullied as he comes out of turn 11. And I'd say Alain Gabet looking like he's lining up Silvesterson for a move as they head towards turn 1. Is he going to duck out? At the front of the field, you can see Goglock protecting the inside line into turn 1, trying to anticipate what Denny Byrne was going to do. Then he moves slightly over to the left, trying to make that Aston Martin as wide as possible. But Denny Byrne's starting to look a little bit impatient, particularly as Hudson Schwartz is rushing to join the battle. Denny Burns has the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. He was the quickest of anybody as Henrik Still and Benjamin Silvesterson run side by side. So Silvesterson, having been attacked, is now attacking, watching it on. Alain Gabet just behind. So this is a great battle that's unfolding.
Yeah, Gabet in that number 30 Porsche was quick out of the box, wasn't he, once he got into the car after the pit stop yesterday. So he squeezes through. The BMW put back down to the tail end of that group, down to 6th place. We've got 2 groups of 3 now, haven't we? And that second group of 3 is starting to be reeled in by that Ginetta, isn't it? Christiansen's put in a really good sector there. The absolute best first sector of the race so far. In fact, he was a second quicker through the first sector alone. That was partly, of course, because they were all holding each other up, but partly because he is just flying. Sector 1 takes you from the start-finish line to the exit to the hairpin at turn 5. It's a long sector. It takes in pretty much half of the lap in terms of distance, and if he keeps that up, he's going to be with them. There is the Ginetta in the background, rattling over the curb. So here then, the battle for the lead of the race. Goglock in the Aston Martin has been caught coming into turn 1 a few times by Bern's Porsche, but he's never really given a big opportunity for Denny Byrne to be tempted into a lunge down the inside. Schwartz watching it all go on just behind behind in the Toyota in third place. Then that scrap for fourth place. This is as close as he's been though. Denny Burnt, the inside line, he's hogged by the Aston Martin driver. Gogolok uses the mirrors, positions the car on the racing line and just about fends off the Porsche.
Yeah, Gogolok using all of his experience and putting it to good use. But while that's all going on, Hudson Schwartz is closing in on the both of them in the Toyota. And the car that's developed at Toyota Racing in Cologne, which is not far from here, can see this fight going on up ahead of him. A little bit of contact. Denny Burnt starting to look a little bit frustrated. But Gogolok in that car, positioning exactly where he needs to. Here's a replay of earlier on. Well, there's the aforementioned Frederick Zebis. That 33 car has been in the walls all weekend long. Hamish Forrest was in there, as well as Jonathan Engstrom. They are all fighting over 16th place, not even fighting for a points position at this point, although Hamish Forrest is in the Pro-Am race as well. So everybody looking for points in their respective championships as we look down towards turn 8 once again. But you just get this sense, as we did yesterday, as things starting to close up and a potential explosive action yet to come. Across the chicane we come. So when the clock strikes 35, when they're 25 minutes into the race, that's when the pit window will open, and we'll have a 10-minute pit window when every car will be required to come in for a mandatory stop and a driver change. So it's everything flat to the floor all the way here. But of course, these drivers need to look after the cars and the tyres because they've got to last an hour. There are no tyre changes in the pit stops. Gogolok looking like he might be struggling for a bit of grip there into turn 1. Now Burnt has a nose on the outside, but then Gogolok with the inside line round to turn 2 and 3. So Gogolok just keeping that line nice and tight. For my money, Hudson Schwartz looking the quickest of the 3, potentially just behind. So he will want to try and mount a challenge on Denny Burnt, while Burnt is trying to fight his way past Philip Gogolok. Gogolok, that Aston Martin just looking more of a handful today than it did yesterday. Remember, has 15 kilos of success ballast on board. That may well be affecting the handling. Of course, the ballast wasn't there when they were qualifying for this race. So this is a kind of a new scenario for Gogolok, having to learn that 15 kilograms extra on board whilst racing at the front.
It's more weight to drag out of the corners. It's more weight to try and slow down as well. More wear and tear on the tyres, more wear and tear on the brakes as well. So have to adjust his driving style. Doesn't sound a lot, 15 kilograms, but when they're oh so evenly matched. And here we go. He's going to lose out to Denny Burnt, who sends one at the inside on the way into the Vidal chicane, rattles the curbs with the front left of the Porsche, but keeps it under control. That was a good move. He has to go defensive though on the way into turn 11 to stop the Aston Martin and Gogolok getting back at the inside of him. That doesn't happen, but now Gogolok, of course, will get the run and maybe a bit of a tow down the start-finish straight, watching it all go on just behind his Schwartz in the Toyota, and it's equally as close. Look at the battle for fourth place. Hendrik Still in that 32 Porsche has got Alan Gabay breathing down his neck as they go into the braking zone. Gabay having a look up the inside. It can be a change for second place here as well. It's going to be synchronised overtaking, I think, in the battle for second, the battle for fourth. Gabay in the background has got down the inside, and we've had the change for second. The Toyota goes through ahead of the BMW.
Wow, look at this. This is just a continuation of yesterday's racing, and Silvesterson looking frustrated in 6th place, but Gogolok really didn't look like he had anything with which to defend that position. I think it was always going to be 3rd place, and Schwartz certainly didn't waste any time dive bombing to the inside of the Aston Martin. But look at this behind. Hendrik Still back in front of Gabay at the moment. The 2 Avian WNS Motorsport Porsches, of course, they're sister cars, but very much racing in their own championships. Benjamin Silvesterson there as well, but the Ginetta has caught up with both of them. So that'll be the 97 car of Alexander Christensen, the Swedish driver for KRT Racing in the Ginetta, also getting involved as we look again at the Toyota going to the inside of Gogolok, and some great moves there into turn 1. Nice clean racing, and I think Gogolok looked to me, he realised that he was fighting a losing battle and not using up resources and grip trying to fight and defend that, as Silvesterson has got fed up of waiting and now muscles his way past Hendrik Still, because Gabay's got past as well. And there's Alexander Christensen rushing to join, Still drifting the Porsche into turn 11. Out along the pit straight they come, but Still has been mugged because suddenly the Ginetta is through as well. The KRT racing car running alongside has the line into turn 1 under braking, but Still comes back around the outside. Great stuff here, but breaking clear of that battle now, Alain Gabet in 4th place.
Yeah, patience paid off there while we saw the change for second, which happened through turns 1 until the last lap. Gabet, as I say, got down the inside of Still into turn 1, but Still, I think, crept. It was off camera, but I think he crept back up the inside of him into turns 2 and 3. But somewhere later on in that lap, Gabet has got ahead of him. He's taken the BMW of Silvesterson with him. There's a great ding-dong going back behind as well between the two BMWs. The inside line is just into the hairpin, going to belong to the black and yellow number 49 machine of Lewis Moser, who just about keeps behind him. Lucas Stiefelhagen in that 66 BMW, the white and blue car. So they're having a proper humdinger as well. Still at it, still side by side, look. But the inside line belongs to the 49 car through the next turn as well as they go towards the end of Sector 2 and up the hill now, climbing flat out all the way to the Vidal chicane. Is he going to think about picking up a move on the way into the braking zone here? He's tempted. The inside line is covered. He goes right, he goes left. He has to go right again. Inside line is covered, and he might try and get a better exit, but he won't get through on the way in. Denny Burt, meanwhile, 1.2, nearly 1.3 seconds clear in the Porsche, having finally got past the Aston Martin. Schwartz in the Toyota in 2nd place, having dispatched to the Aston Martin. He's about 0.9 of a second clear of the former race leader, Gogolok in the Aston Martin, who is down to 3rd place now. And they're all catching up, aren't they, to the lapped car of Viskersen, or almost lapped car. It lost almost a full lap when it came in with its puncture.
Look at this fight. The 49 car, absolutely brilliant. Lewis Moser with the additional success ballast on board. He's got Lucas Stiefelhagen monstering him all the way. Stiefelhagen, who won the electric championship, the next gen championship last year, those electric minis. This is something altogether different in the big, mighty BMW. Doesn't have that additional 5 kilos of success ballast, but has still got to try and find his way past a driver who's already into his 2nd season of GT4 Germany. Behind all of them, Marius Schmid, with the car reassembled after the front end had been rearranged yesterday. The team at BWT Mucker working overtime to get the pink Mercedes back together, but he's closing in on this fight as well. You can see we are 9 3/4 minutes away from the pit window opening. Oh, and that's a shame. Into the pits, the number 20 car of Hamish Forrest. Oh, that's a real shame. It does mean that Gregor Schneider will not get a run today. And Hamish Forrest, great guy from the UK, but this is potentially what's going to happen. And there was contact with Jonathan Engstrom, and he throws his hands up into the air. There's not a lot he could have done there. He recovered from his leg injury that he sustained just prior to Oschersleben, but now he has a car injury. You can see the fluid pouring from the Porsche, and that was always going to be game over. He gets out, has a look at it, but it does look like Gregor Schneider's not even going to get a drive today.
Yeah, radiators gone a bit susceptible, aren't they, with front-end contact on the Porsche. So Denny Byrne growing his gap, edging towards a 2-second advantage now. Christensen in that blue and yellow Ginetta, very good on the brakes there, wasn't he? And thought about sending one at the inside of Hendrik Still, who still easily is leading the Pro-Am category. Jack James, number 40, back in 12th place, is the next best in the Pro-Am class. And then we've still got a sort of slightly frustrating race. This is for Silvesterson, who pulled off some cracking overtaking manoeuvres at a place where it's difficult to overtake at times. Oschersleben in the previous weekend of the championship is having to be a bit more circumspect here. He hasn't really had the opportunities to come forward, couldn't find any gaps on the opening lap of the race, and currently remaining in that blue and yellow number 50 BMW. For FK Performance in 5th place, still shadowing but not able to find a way past the Porsche just ahead of him. So it's Byrne that leads, Schwartz in 2nd, Gogolok in 3rd, Gabet in 4th place. Silvesterson stuck with him, flashing his headlights but not able to find a way through in 5th. Still falling away from them a little bit now in 6th place, trying to fend off still this rapid Ginetta, the Swedish driver. Christensen, who's also flashing his headlights and looking very menacing. That Ginetta looking very strong on the brakes, which might bode well if he can stay close enough through this corner, Brian, at turn 11 to have a go into turn 1.
Yes, he needs to be up nice and close on the exit of that turn 11. Right, warning, dodgy maths incoming. According to my calculations, if the cars stay as they are now, Denny Byrne, Lachlan Robinson will move to the top of the championship. There will be 3 clear of Jan-Philipp Springhoff and Philip Gogolok. So it'll be 135 to 132. Up to third place would go Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz. It's a bit early to be doing the maths, but it's good just to know what the bigger picture is, because after this race, we've only got 4 more left this season. It's a short, sharp season, and there is another Avia WNS Motorsport Porsche with a bit of damage. This time, Alain Gabet. Doesn't look too terminal, but they're certainly not going to help the handling of it in any way at all, is it?
No, and of course for Denny Burns and Lachlan Robinson, they thought yesterday they picked up the championship lead, didn't they? And then that post-race penalty. So it's perhaps going to come 24 hours later. A long way to go. But Denny Burton now doing a really solid job here. He's a driver that's been around this paddock for a few years now. Firstly, when he came into the BMW M2 Cup, front runner in that, finishing the top 4 in the championship. So he's gaining his experience and he's using his head now to get away from the rest, because the bigger the gap that he can create, the less pressure on the team to perform during the pit stop. Now, it's the minimum pit stop time, so it's not a performance pit stop, but you still want to get as close to the minimum pit stop time as you can. We saw one team get to within 0.0 seconds of it yesterday, another to within 0.1 seconds, but you don't want to overstep the mark. If you're a hundredth, a thousandth of a second under that time, you will get a penalty, your race will be ruined. So if he can give them a gap, that takes the pressure off. They can afford to lose half a second, 0.6 of a second, not be right down to the wire, be sure that they're not going to get a penalty and still have the lead of the race.
6th place, Henrik Still, Alexander Christensen, the Swedish driver in the Swedish colours, flashing the lights, taking a much tighter line into turn 1. Henrik Still, a very experienced pilot in the world of ADAC GT4 Germany, in his 68th race in this series. He's won here 5 times and having to defend hard from the Ginetta. Alexander Christensen in just his 8th race. Christensen's best result before this weekend was at 12th place, and of course yesterday they got a 4th place as well, so certainly coming on strong, but a lot of experience behind the wheel of the number 32 car. Of course, he's sharing the driving duties with the paraplegic driver Tim Horrell, who will be using hand controls when he gets behind the wheel of that car after the pit sequence has finished. The pit window will open in 5 minutes from now, and that's when the strategy will start to unfold.
Christensen is the quicker of the two here, but hasn't really had a clear-cut opportunity to get through. He's closed up a couple of times under braking. He's never quite got close enough coming out of the corners. The different strengths and weaknesses, these different types of GT4 car, the balance of performance, whether you can add to the weight of the cars, restrict the amount of power to even things out. That means that there are some parts of the circuit where one manufacturer is quicker and others where they're not quite as good. Bits flying off cars all over the shop, as we've seen from the slow-mos. But look at that lead that Denny Burnt has built up very quickly. It's about 3.5 seconds now, his advantage over Schwartz in the Toyota. His last lap time was a 1:33.6, a 1:34.1 for the driver in second, and a 1:34.4 for the driver in third. Half a second quicker than him, though, in 4th place was Alain Gabet. So he's bringing with him Silvesterson, and they are starting to close up now to Gogolok's Aston Martin.
And Gogolok has now had 3 track limit warnings for exceeding track limits. So he needs to be careful, because the steward has a limited amount of patience with track limits, and I'll get a point where he goes, okay, enough's enough. There's that debris getting pinged off into the air. I think I saw Alain Gabet run over his own back bumper at one point. But the debris is now cleared out of the way, so hopefully nobody's cut a tyre on that. This battle rages on. Henrik still in that 6th place. Alexander Christensen in 7th, but looking very eager, as you mentioned. Very different configurations of cars. You've got the rear engine of that Porsche Cayman. You've got the front engine Ginetta there, putting all the pressure on. So different strengths in different parts of the circuit. Flashing the lights. Good luck distracting Henrik Still. He is not for distracting as they head towards the chicane. Now they will launch it over the Vidal chicane, try and get the car up on the 2 wheels to the left, then to the right, up towards to 10 and 11. They will come out onto the pit straight. So has Christensen got enough grunt to be able to get up close and personal with that Porsche? Maybe pick up some kind of draft from it, get a tow in towards turn 1 and make a challenge. We see them coming towards us now. Gogolok looking vulnerable to Alain Gabet into turn 1. No, it wasn't his own front bumper. That's still attached. Back bumper. but Silvesterson still hanging on in there in 5th place as well.
Alain Gabet has taken half a second out of the Aston Martin on that lap as well, so he's closed the gap by 1 second in 2 laps. He's all over the back of Gogolot, but we know Gogolot is pretty good at positioning that Aston Martin on the racing line, not being over defensive, because it's, you know, you think, well, why don't you just drive up the inside then and hold the inside line? They can never get past you then, but if you go tight into a corner, naturally you're going to go wide on the way out of the corner. That's the way the car is pointing. Ideally you want to take a wider line in, get on the power early and come out of it. You can't do that though if there's somebody right behind you, because they are going to be filling that gap with their car if you leave half a chance. But equally you can't be too defensive either, so it's about positioning it just right, braking late enough not to put them in with a sniff of a dive down the inside, but not so late that you scrub all your exit speed off on the way out of the corner. And he's been doing a good job, but it does feel like Gabet is much the quicker of the two. Closes right up to him under braking now on the way into the Vidal chicane. He's bringing with him Benjamin Silvesterson in that BMW, so the Aston Martin driver has got 1-2 cars to try and fend off, whilst also trying to keep in touch with that Toyota just ahead.
So the audience look on, the photographers are poised. There's some great photos to be had here at the Nürburgring as we head towards the pit window opening in about 1.25 minutes time. You see the 87 car there, 2nd place Hudson Schwartz, 3rd place, but for how long? I think Gogolok may be quite happy to hand the car over to Jan-Philipp Springhoff and go, say you have a go with it. In 3rd place at the moment, the last of the podium positions, that additional 15 kilos of success ballast, maybe giving him a little bit of a handling issue. Then Alain Gabet, then Benjamin Silvesterson, who was in that battle yesterday and backs off for nobody. That is a lapped car in the background there, Philipp Viskirchen in 19th place after that puncture. But everybody pushing hard as we are now 40 seconds away from the pit window opening. And the 7th place, Alexander Christensen, you can see how hard he's pushing, but all of that has just allowed him to fall into the clutches of Lewis Moser. So now suddenly Moser rushing to join this battle for 6th place. That may well be a bit of a gift for Hendrik Still. That'll allow him to maybe break clear, because Christensen now having to defend from the BMW behind.
Keeping an eye just behind them as well on that pink Muka Motorsport Mercedes, driven in this stage number 8 car by Marius Schmidt. He's been stuck behind that BMW of Stiefelhagen for 9th and 10th positions for about 4 or 5 laps now, and he's really close to him at times, but he just cannot find a way through. So just trying to be patient there in the background. There are lots of duels, aren't there? 2-3-way scraps. Here we go, wide onto the curbs, right, and into the pits then comes the Ginetta, the BMW just ahead of Linus Hahner has come in as well, but it's already had that one pit stop. So the pit stop window open for just under 10 minutes now, and several of the groups of cars in the midfield coming in, but the first of the lead group really, or the leaders to come in, is that Ginetta, and that probably makes sense. Christensen was flying, but he was sort of stuck in that train, wasn't he?
Yeah, Erik Bertelsen will be limbering up the all-Swedish drivers for KRT Racing in the driving position of that Ginetta. Into the pits they come. So minimum pit stop time, the clock ticking down. Pit entry line is when the clock starts. Pit exit line is when it stops. They must not go below the minimum pit stop time of 95 seconds. If they do, then there will be a penalty incoming. At the moment, everything calm and collected, no rush. They'll want to back time it to try and hit the exit line when the clock strikes 0. So not allowed to have mechanics working on the car, swarming over it, doing all sorts of things. We just saw there the number 50 BMW, Gianni van der Kratz, the Dutch driver, handing over to Victor Nielsen. Both those drivers really great competitors, real entertainers, both in the junior championship. And while we're looking at that, in the junior ranking coming into this race, Philip Gogolok was leading Denny Berndt and Lachlan Robinson by 6 points in the junior category. Third was Benjamin Silvesterson. He was 14 points back, and into the pits comes Gogolok. Had a feeling he might be quite keen to hand it over to Jan-Philipp Springhoff. Springhoff, this is his local track. In the background there is also Lewis Moser peeling off to hand over to Luca Link. So several cars coming in. I thought I saw the number 8 car coming in as well. So that'll be Marius Schmidt handing over to Alex Connor. So there is the pit line. The clock starts ticking from 95 down. You can see from the graphic that the Ginetta was 1.2 over. I'd say that's quite comfortable. Victor Nielsen, 9/10, so playing a little bit of chicken with the white line, but reasonably safe. So Philip Gogolok gets out of the car. Jan-Philipp Springhob jumps in, and a bit of damage there on the back. Maybe that is why he was struggling a little bit with the handling into the corners. I don't remember seeing too much contact, but at the beginning of the race, particularly that opening lap where everybody is fighting for those positions, the crew, well, they're limited, as I already mentioned, to what they're allowed. He's got a rolling gaffer tape in his hand. They make an awful lot of gaffer tape is up for sale here at these events. Now, out of the pits. Right, well, there's an impatient-looking Linus Harner behind Erik Bertelsen. So Harner's taken over from Philip Viskersen. He cannot overtake him there. So now the Ginetta's back up to speed. Linus Harner in the BMW. Meanwhile, Denny Byrne with a nice open track in front of him. Probably not in too much of a hurry to come in and hand it over to Lachlan Robinson.
Schwartz in second in the Toyota, stays out, so too does Gabay, but Silvesterson has had enough. He comes into the pits from what is 4th place at the moment. He was 5th place before the pit window opened, of course, because we had the Aston Martin that's already come into the pits. So Silvesterson comes in, takes almost a lap, doesn't it, to come through. It's minute and 33, minute and 34 seconds a lap time around here. So actually just over a lap, isn't it? A minute and 35 is the minimum pit stop time. So you have this situation where drivers are coming out of the pits and kind of rejoining in the same group that they left or just behind it. And Gogolok wants to make sure that he doesn't lose out here. He's all over the number 30 Porsche with his trim hanging off the left rear corner of Alain Gabay's car. He keeps it on line on the way through the right-hander at turn 4, goes a bit deep through the turn, a bit wide on the exit. Doesn't quite kick up the dust here, but he is keeping behind him just about the Aston Martin, flashing his headlights now. They looked at the rear of that car, didn't they, when Philip Gogolok handed it in to Springhob, but in the end they decided it was safe, it's not going to fall off, and they didn't try and reattach it with the aforementioned gaffer tape.
Gabriele Piana now commences the 92nd race in the ADAC GT4 Germany. This is the 92nd race in the 8-year history of this championship, and he has started all 92 of those races now, having taken over from Benjamin Silvesterson. So the engine runs on that car, and he will peel out of the pit lane. Our leading stopper at the moment is Jan-Philipp Springhob in that black Aston Martin, and he'll be frustrated because he'll want to try to have made as much space as possible while his other competitors are still out before their stop. At the moment, Denny Byrne not looking like he is showing any signs at all of coming in. Neither is Hudson Schwartz. Alain Gabay stays out as well. Out comes Gabriele Piana in the BMW. We know how quick he is, and he will try to, well, he's not going to be able to fend off the Supra, but he'll want to try and slot in, certainly in front of Jan-Philipp Springhob. Those two drivers had a fair few battles over the years. In between them, though, is Alain Gabay.
Well, that's worked out, hasn't it, for Piana, because he was 5th before the pit stops. Well, he's got ahead of the Aston Martin, which was running in 3rd place, and in between them, he's still got this Porsche as well for a bit of breathing space, which hasn't yet made its pit stop. So that was obviously a good pit stop. Was it 1:35.5? So within half a second of the minimum pit stop time for the BMW crew for Piana. The Aston Martin crew were only 2/10 slower. So I think that's probably all been about the in-lap for Piana's teammate there. Silvesterson must have done a very good job on his final lap in to try and make a bit more time up. Paired, I suppose, with the fact that he's been stuck in that group, hasn't he, for a lap since getting into the car, Jan-Philipp Springhob, because of the fact that it takes basically a lap to come out of the pits. He came back out with Gabay. They were fighting each other, and therefore the Aston Martin was being held up. So those two things combined have added up to mean that he's lost out to at least one driver in that lead quintet, and that is Piana in that BMW, second in your shot.
We've got 7 drivers still yet to come in for their stop, including our leading Pro-Am driver. I get the feeling Hendrik Still will leave it to the last possible minute before he comes in. Interestingly, Jan-Philipp Springhob has had a track limit warning. So it says car 4 track limit warning. I don't know if that is added to Philip Gogolok's or whether the slate is clean when it's got a new driver, but the Supra under braking into the corner, getting hassled by Gabriele Piana, perhaps distracted a little, missing the braking point. That was the invitation that Piana needed. So he comes sailing through and relegates the 87 Supra down the order. So just maybe looking in the mirrors a little bit too much. Hudson Schwartz there locking the tyres, and of course they'll have a vibration there as a result of that as well.
Yeah, so this these 4 cars, you got 2 that have pitted, the ones either end of it, the BMW and the Aston Martin. The 2 Porsches in the middle of it haven't pitted yet, but they're all effectively fighting for podium positions, because by the time the Porsches come back out, they're going to be in and around it, but they'll probably be behind the Aston Martin, especially when this sort of thing happens. A lock-up, and he's just sending massively wide, understeered into the corner. He's going left, he wants to be going right, scrabbles it back on, but he loses the place on track. It doesn't mean he's lost the position, but he probably has lost the position, because in theory his minimum pit stop time will be slightly longer than 1 lap, and then probably therefore come out behind the BMW and probably behind the Aston Martin as well.
When Schwartz hands the car over to Lucas Cartel, as he's about to do now, Cartel will feel the vibrations. I don't think Jan-Philipp Springhoff was ready for that.
Well, he wanted to go at the inside of the Porsche, but the Porsche wanted to turn right into the pit lane, and that all got a bit hairy, didn't it?
Yeah, so when the Supra is handed over, there may be vibrations as a result of that lockup, and Cartel will have to inherit whatever mess those tyres are in and bring it home. So the 30 car finally getting into the pits. Let's have another look here, and I just don't think Jan-Philipp Springhoff was ready for him to cut across into the pit lane. I don't think he was indicating, so he made it into the pit lane in the end. So Alain Gabet handing over to Maxi Schreier, another driver who's a local to this circuit. This is his home race. So here comes Maxi Schreier, comes sprinting out of the garage. He'll want to get Alain Gabet dispatched from the seat as quickly as possible. In he gets. No major rush, because they've got that 95 seconds, but that can tick away nice and quickly. Have we got some gaffer tape being applied? Something's happening.
Probably.
Oh, that's that bumper that was hanging off, isn't it? Well, if you can't stick it on, tear it off. So they hurl that to the side. That'll probably help the handling. Weight, it might be slightly underweight, but anyway, job done there. So behind the wheel gets Maxi Schreier, and he'll get ready to get moving there. We've also, you can see there, Tim Horrell, who's now behind the wheel. He's taken over from Hendrick Still, and the first paraplegic driver we've ever had in GT4 Germany, and what a welcome addition he is. Now the leader has to come in, because there's only 40 seconds left on the pit window. We've seen drivers miss the pit window in the past, and I have to tell you, the time penalty is not worth it. Denny Burt is now into the pit lane. He's extracted everything out of this race that it is possible to extract. Time on track, he's got it to the front, and now Lachlan Robinson will need to get behind the wheel and bring the thing home. You can see the clock's ticking down, so everybody has or is pitting. Out there comes Igor Litvinenko. He's taken over from Oscar Dix, but this is the one we're looking at, the 31 car into the pits. Lucas Cartel has also been in. Gabriele Piana at the moment, we're looking at him and Cartel, they're still fighting with each other. So Piana, this could be potentially, well, probably not the race lead, certainly second place potentially here. Gabriele Piana and Cartel at the moment. The Lachlan Robinson car is in the pits and waiting. We're watching this fight here as they head up towards the hairpin of turn 5. So this could be significant. Has Piana lost time fighting with the Supra? We'll see how that shakes out. He heads in towards turn 6 at the moment. The clock ticks down. Still, Lachlan Robinson cannot come out of the pits quite yet. He's got 30 seconds left. Gabriele Piana's up at turn 7 at the moment. Remember the tyres of the car.
Oh, Toyota off through the gravel trap for Cartel. Just about wrestles it back onto the track, but he's lost all of his momentum, and he probably is about to lose a place on the run up the hill here. Yeah, he tries to fight, but he cannot fend off the number 30 Porsche coming through of Schreier. He takes the opportunity, and that's a place lost, but it could have been worse. He did well actually to get it back on track, because it was a proper wild ride as our race leading car comes back out to rejoin. So the Toyota with that lock-up from the previous driver down at turn 1. They had a good pit stop actually to within 0.4 of a second of the minimum pit stop time, but then the next driver, Cartel, gets in. He makes a mistake as well, and that effectively might end up costing them a podium.
So Robinson out of the pits into the lead, but his tyres would have cooled down while he has been stationary in the pits. Jan-Philipp Springhoff sees the opportunity on Lucas Cartel, so this could be for a podium position. Cartel defending like mad in the Toyota Supra in that 4th place at the moment. But Jan-Philipp Springhoff looking like the quicker of the two. Just ahead of them is Maxi Schreier in 3rd place in the number 30 Porsche. But still, Jan-Philipp Springhoff keeping the pressure on. A way more experienced driver. He ducks to the inside of the 87 car, then moves back in behind. at the front of the pack. Lachlan Robinson in the number 31 car has fended off the attentions of Gabriele Piana, but he is up into that second place. Then Maxi Schreier just disappearing from your picture. Then Lucas Cartel in the Toyota. Then this car here with Jan-Philipp Springhoff and Ginetta versus Porsche. I think that's Tim Horrell getting together with Eric Bertelsen. Yes, it was. So Tim Horrell just getting his elbows out and fending for that position. 8th place at the moment. Bertelsen in 9th. Here we go again. Springhoff keeping the pressure onto the Supra. Into the chicane once again. The Supra is still there. Cartel goes wide once again. And that is surely going to be game over in terms of 4th place. He's going to try and come back there potentially along the pit straight into turn 1. But Springhoff looks to have got the job done. The Supra coming back. Who has got the horsepower heading down past the pits? Who is going to be the bravest on the brakes? Because at the moment, Cartel has that inside line into turn 1, but Springhoff may well break nice and tidy and cut back to the inside. Into turn 1 they come. Springhoff, though, not able to get it back. So Cartel, what great driving from him. Back up into that 4th place.
He did well to recover that, actually. Got the inside line, so pretty early on, before they got to the braking zone, Springhoff thought, well, I can't beat you to the corner, so I'll stay on the outside. I'll let you try and out-brake yourself. And he was hoping that Cartel in the Toyota would go deep into the corner and he'd get him back on the exit, but Cartel just kept it on the line. This is where it all kicked off. That's the second trip onto the grass, isn't it? At a different corner this time on the way out of that chicane, the Vidal chicane at turn 10. Just took too much curb on the way through it, really, and that sent the car off sorts, off balance, offline, wide enough. And then this move from Alex Connor to get ahead of Tim Horrell, and then trying to follow him through as well. In the Ginetta was Bertelsen, and then thudded into the side of that number 32 Porsche of Tim Horrell for the WNS M Sport team. Had a second nibble on the way past, but Horrell was not forgiving in, was he? And just about fended off the Ginetta. Robinson, having got in from his teammate Denny Byrne, they actually took it relatively easily because they could afford to, because they'd had this nice lead built up. So they did a minimum pit stop time of 1:35.9, almost a second off the minimum pit stop time, but made sense to take it easy. Right, not taking it easy though is Jan-Philipp Springhoff. The Aston Martin, his tail is up and he's looking to the outside line again here to try and get past the Toyota. There's going to be nothing doing on the way into the corner. All he can try and do now is carry the momentum, cut back up the inside and try and carry the momentum into the left-hander at turn 2. But it'll be second favourite there as well, because that's a left-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. He tried to take that tight line, but of course Cartel has the line then into turn 2, but he goes very wide around that corner. Now trying to hook up 3 and 4 together, but Springhoff keeping the pressure on. The Aston Martin, looking the quicker of the two, ran this section of the track. Up ahead of them is Maxi Schreier. The incident that we saw is under investigation. Well, no surprises there involving the cars that you can see on your screen now. And Eric Bertelsen at the front of the pack at the moment, but also in there, Marek Buchmann in the number 26 car. And now this time Springhoff has got the job done. Can he make it stick this time? He's in front of Lucas Cartel. So while we were looking away, he's got the Aston Martin in front, up into that 4th place. Cartel flashing the lights, not giving up as they head in towards the chicane. Up the hill we'll come once again, under braking, has a look to the side. This is a replay of what happened. So just got the inside, a bit of quite a dive bomb into the inside of the corner, but certainly got the Aston Martin into the gap, shut the door. The question is, has Cartel been able to get back at him and retake that position? These two cars very evenly matched. Here comes second place Piana. He is some 8.3 seconds back from Lachlan Robinson, and Springhoff has been able to hold on to that position. So Cartel down into 5th place. Look who's in the background. Luca Link, he never gives up, flashing the lights in the BMW and closing in on the both of them.
Been here for 3 days watching DTM and GT4. I think that move from Jan-Philipp Springhoff is the first time I've seen anybody overtake at turn 6, that left-hander. That was pretty gutsy, good move there. That's a good move as well on the BMW, isn't it, from Nielsen, the pale blue BMW, which had its door hanging off yesterday early on in the race. That had to come in for an unscheduled pit stop and gaffer tape, dropped to the very back of the field, got back in the race, and they recovered to a point to 12th place to get a few points, but on the tail end of the top 10 now. But the one that came off worst on that lap was poor old Tim Hurrell in that number 32 car, because he had Bertelsen, Botman and Litvinenko all getting up the inside of him on that run into turn 5, the hairpin. Once he was forced off the racing line by that car, that blue and yellow Ginetta, he just couldn't get back onto the racing line because they're all nose to tail, boxed him out and dropped 4 places. And here's Botman getting up the inside of the Mercedes of the Ginetta now to gain the place. So he goes through up to 8th.
Wow, great racing. While all that's been going on the last lap, Gabriele Piana was half a second quicker than the race leader, Lachlan Robinson. So we're going to keep an eye on that gap because it is closing between first and second. It's 8.348 at the moment. So we'll keep one eye on that. Maxi Schreier in that 3rd place, a solid 3rd place there. Jan-Philipp Springhob in 4th, having dispatched Lucas Cartel. Our leading Pro-Am at the moment is Tim Hurrell in 12th place overall. 2nd in the Pro-Ams, Damon Suzushin returns to GT4 Germany this weekend, comes all the way from Canada to race here, getting used to a Porsche, having been driving a BMW for quite a few years, but doing well. 2nd in the Pro-Ams ahead of Mikhail Manichevsky.
Balkmuller in the BMW, really big, long, hard think about getting up the inside of Tim Hurrell, but the Porsche obliges by going deep into the apex, just about scrambles it back onto the line and fends off, for now at least, that BMW as they go side by side through turn 2, trying to carry the momentum around the outside for turn 3 is the BMW driver, but Balkmuller try maybe to get the inside line here for turn 4. It's exactly what happens. Dives at the inside, sends out wide the Porsche, who's got nowhere to go but onto the dust. He's still trying to hang in on here, Tim Hurrell, but he's the outside line for the hairpin, which comes up. That's on board with him now. The BMW finally gets through after running together for 5 corners. So Tim Hurrell has had a tough few laps there, hasn't he? He's lost 5 places. He's trying to fight back all the way to turn 6, though, and I don't think Balkmuller really expected that, so he had to sort of stand off the racing line and almost ran out of road himself. Meanwhile, that's Victor Nielsen, I think, kicking up the dust in the BMW just there. But yeah, Tim Hurrell having a bit of a struggle on the last couple of laps. He's been bullied out of it a little bit by that train of cars. He still, though, as you say, leads the Pro-Am class in that 32 Porsche.
And of course, he's using hand controls as well, which is, I'm told, a very, very difficult thing to do in that Porsche. So great job there. Right, well, there's Jan-Philipp Springhob at the moment in 4th place. He's broken clear of Lucas Cartel. I think Cartel is going to have a Luca Link-shaped problem before too long, because Link is closing in on him. Alex Connor in 7th. That was Hurrell, I think, having a wild ride out of turn 11, kicking up the dust, because Leon Bouchmuller now clear of him in 12th place, taking a different line in towards turn 1. We've still got 15 minutes remaining of this race 8 of a 12-race season for ADAC GT4 Germany, and it's Lachlan Robinson leading the way.
Yeah, by almost 10 seconds, actually, in that luminous yellow number 31 Porsche, with Piana in the BMW, about 2.3 seconds clear of number 30 Schreier in the Porsche. Springhob in the Aston Martin falling away now. He's about 6.2 seconds back in 4th place. Then we've got Cartel in the Toyota 5th, the 87 machine, which for a while during that pit stop phase threatened for a podium. But Cartel had a couple of wild moments on the grass, didn't he, in the 87 machine. And before that, he had his teammate Hudson Schwartz, the American, who just lost a bit of time digging deep into turn 1, digging deep into the gravel on the grass there, was the number 97 Ginetta, the Eric Bertelsen-driven KRT racing car, which is having still its strongest performances this weekend of the season, isn't it, here at Nürburgring?
Yeah, looking really, really good. The strongest it's looked all season long, as you say. Right, okay, maths time. If the race finished in exactly the position they're at now, it will be Denny Byrne and Lachlan Robinson who will lead the championship by 3 points from Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Goglock. In 3rd place would be Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson, and they would be 14 points back. So all very, very close. Also, Lucas Cartel, Hudson Schwartz would be in 4th place, and they would be 30 points back from Denny Byrne and Lachlan Robinson. We've still got 13.5 minutes remaining, though, and a lot of challenging going on. Luca Link looking to steal a few points away from Lucas Cartel. That BMW has been closing in lap after lap, and we know from previous experience that Luca Link does not waste any time starting the attack and putting the pressure on. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to sit and wait for Toyota Supra. He's going to try and move up into that position. 5th place up for grabs, and the points that go with it. 11 points available for 5th place, and that's what Luca Link is looking for as they head out towards turn 8. Once again flashing the lights. The Supra now having to drive defensively. Any thoughts about trying to pass Springhob? Long since gone, because now he's having to defend into the chicane. Link will want to get up close as he can. Into turn 11 they come. He'll want to get a good exit out 11, because if he can get that, he could get the job done into turn 1. He could get the job done before they even get out of turn 11. He's to the inside of the Toyota. It's Cartel and Link, the drag race past the pits at the moment. Cartel back in front. We see Springhob just clearing the picture in front of us. Now Link choosing the outside line into turn 1. Will he duck back to the inside? Will he stay behind? He goes to the inside, or maybe just behind at the moment. All of that is allowing Alex Connor to get involved. So Luca Link may want to get past Cartel a little bit as quickly as possible before Alex Connor gets involved too.
Yeah, Alex Connor in that pink BWT Mugen Motorsport Mercedes was 0.7 of a second quicker than the pair of them 2 laps ago. And on that last lap, he was a second quicker as they held each other up. And he'll be thinking, if I can get past you two, not that far up the road, he's 4th place, and Jan-Philipp Springhob in the Aston Martin. So Alex Connor, perhaps one to watch here in the Mercedes, gets a tidy run as they all do coming out of turn 5 into the left-hander at turn 6, into sector 2 now, the lap through the Bilstein curve at turn 7. We've got a final warning for track limits coming the way of the Ginetta. The number 97 machine, which is Bertelsen, who currently runs in the top 10.
87.
87 rather,
Supra.
which is
Yeah,
Supra,
Cartel.
That's a Cartel, yes.
Yeah.
Which is, had a few moments on the grass, hasn't it? Which hasn't necessarily gained it time, but you've still got to stay within the track limits. Or then they come into the chicane, left, right, over the curbs. The Toyota trying to stay within track limits, trying to fend off the BMW of Link, and also the Mercedes of Connor. Link is quicker through the apex, gets on the gas with a bit more traction, a bit more grip, so immediately onto the defence here is the Toyota driver. The outside line is going to have to go for the Mercedes. Connor, there's no way through on the inside line here. Is anybody going to have a go? He might be attacked twice here, once by the BMW, once by the Mercedes. Going either side of him. Up the inside goes Luca Link then, and he dives down the inside of Cartel, deep into the corner. The Cartel comes back at him in the Toyota, scrambles back through onto the racing line into the left-hander at turn 2. As we track them with the drone, you've got Alex Connor then in that pink BWT Mugen Motorsport Mercedes, quicker than both of them, but can't quite find a way through. They're so engaged in their own battle, they're kind of not paying attention to him so much, which means they're weaving all over the place, and he can't really predict where the gaps are going to come.
I think Luca Link might be regretting that he didn't get that position stuck into turn 1 and round to turn 2, because that has now dropped him into the clutches of Alex Connor. He's going to have another chance maybe to do it here. At the moment, they head out towards turn 6 and then into turn 7. So Luca Link may want to try that again, but with Alex Connor, suddenly the options are starting to run out a little bit if he doesn't want to lose a position. So he's flashing the lights. Lucas Cartel with that final warning. Remember that. So he cannot afford to exceed track limits. Here comes Luca Link in towards the chicane. He ducks to the left-hand side. They take a bit of curb. Cartel goes the wrong side of the bollards. That might attract the attention of the stewards. Into turn 11, they will come now. Luca Link too far back at this point, but maybe able to close in as they head past the pits. But suddenly, Alex Connor looking really dangerous. Let's look again here. As they headed in towards the chicane, Lucas Cartel picking up the curb, going the wrong side of the bollards. Is that going to be another track limit warning for him? Because that could be a disaster. Luca Link manages to get the right side of what remains of the bollards, and Cartel actually was able to open up a bit of a gap from the BMW at that point. At the moment, Link has not been able to get past, but now Alex Connor looks to the outside around turn 3. So the Mercedes looking the quicker of the 3, putting the pressure onto Luca Link. Did you see the back end sliding as Link gets onto the power, giving it everything? But still, Cartel holds on to that 5th place.
Yeah, and that trip over the grass through the chicane, the Vidal chicane, for Cartel in that Toyota at the front of this trio was because he hit the curb so heavily. He had 2 wheels off the ground, and when you've got 2 wheels off the ground, it's quite hard to turn through a corner. You're not connected to the tarmac, and it just sent him straight on there, but he survived it, and actually he's pulled a bit of a gap now, hasn't he, over Link and Connor in the BMW and the Mercedes, respectively. This is the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th positions. Botman is trying his best to catch up to them, and he is catching up to them, but maybe not quickly enough. He was 7 or 8 tenths of a second quicker. No further action, as you can see, in that incident through the chicane on the previous lap. But again, they're a bit quicker than the Toyota through there. He takes less curb this time. He's smoother through the corner, but definitely the BMW and the Mercedes have a little bit of an edge on the Toyota through that part of the course. That enables them to close up, especially Alex Connor. Look, he's got a really good run coming out of turn 11 here, and he's now going to try and find a way past Luca Link somewhere at turns 1 and 2. Again, he's going to have to try the outside line though, because Luca keeps the BMW plumb on the racing line. He's trying to attack and defend at the same time, trying to get ahead of the Porsche, trying to keep behind him the Mercedes. And he's doing a very good job of it at the moment.
Brilliant stuff. So Alex Connor with all the work to do. Luca Link, as you say, attacking and defending at the same time, doing a sterling job there. All of this is for 5th place. At the moment, that belongs to Lucas Cartel. Just to keep you updated, we do have a race at the front going on. It's Lachlan Robinson, 8.5 seconds clear of Gabriele Piana. Maxi Schreier in the last of the podium positions. Then Jan-Philipp Springhoff, who's some 4.8 seconds back. This fight here, no, this is 4.8 seconds back from Jan-Philipp Springhoff, beg your pardon. This fight here for 5th place continues to rage on. It's Cartel, Link and Connor. We've got 6 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this race. Our leading Pro-Am driver is Tim Horrell. Second in the Pro-Ams is Jesper Jensen, who's taken over from Lawrence Rule. So Damon Suzuki down to 3rd in the Pro-Am, still in a podium position. But this is the battle of the race at the moment.
By the way, Buttman in that orange and black Mercedes behind was 1.4 seconds quicker than these three last time around. They're all tripping over each other. He's homing in on them like a bright orange missile. So if they keep fighting each other for another 6 minutes plus 1 lap of this race, they're going to find themselves in a 4-way battle for 5th place. They're trying to avoid that bit of bodywork on the straight, aren't they, as they come just before the grid hatchings over the start-finish line. 6 minutes to go in the race. Cartel with a slight bit of a breather here for once on the way to turn 1. Luca Link closes up under braking, which is a good job because very late on the brakes is Alex Connor in the Mercedes, and it all concertinas up once again as they make their way into turn 2. On that lap, Buttman did a 1:35.0, was again nearly a second quicker than Alex Connor, just ahead of him. So when we see a different angle, perhaps coming down into the hairpin, you'll see these three. You'll see that orange and black Mercedes, and Buttman, number 26, getting ever closer to them and just focusing on his own job here, the German driver in the Pro Sport racing car. Again, good on the brakes is the Mercedes of Alex Connor, but it's to no avail. And there, look, is the second Mercedes. It's in the same shot now. We are going to have a 4-way scrap for 5th place.
Yes, and it might actually work to the advantage of Luca Link if Buchmann does catch the back of this queue, because suddenly Alex Connor will not be able to attack in the same way as he has done without risking losing a position. It's like a slalom working around all the bollards and the debris on various parts of the track here. Lucas Cartel leads that particular queue. There's some friends looking on in front of the screen.
That's a production crew, isn't it?
Production crew.
Some of them.
Looking like a deadly bodyguard, as usual. Never trust the man in the sunglasses. Lachlan Robinson, well, he's lost about a second to Gabriele Piana. Don't think there's any dramas there, because with 4.5 minutes remaining, tyres are going to be a little bit tired. The 1, 2, 3, 4 reasonably well spaced out. The battle for 5th, far from over. Luca Link just ducking out to avoid debris more than anything else out along the pit straight, and that can affect what line you're going to take into turn 1. Here comes Alex Connor with a dive to the inside, goes to the outside at the last minute, then tucks back to the inside once again. Marek Buchmann now up with this battle. That's allowed Lucas Cartel to break clear just a little. Luca Link having to defend like mad. And now Alex Connor looks to the inside, ducks back to the outside. Marek Buchmann now onto the back bumper of Alex Connor. Could be Buchmann who could get past all of these.
Yeah, Alex Connor has run out of patience, hasn't he, by the look of it, because he's seen Buckman in his mirrors looming large now, and he thinks, right, I don't want to lose a place to you, so best form of defence, go on the attack. He did well not to go to the back of Luca Link into turn one because they were oh so late on the brakes, and he had to jinx slightly off the racing line to avoid it, and then again a couple of corners later, but he's avoided contact. And yeah, this might work out nicely for Cartel in that Toyota. He's got about a length and a half lead over Link and the BMW now. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th all in your shot. And if Link starts to get involved in defending from these two Mercedes, that is definitely going to help out Cartel in Toyota. But a problem, I'm afraid, for the Ginetta of Eric Bertelsen. Pulls off the road on the run. I think that's out of turn 8 from the top 10, and that looks like it's going to be a retirement very close to the end of the race. 3 minutes to go, plus 1 lap now. By the way, Robinson, the race leader, 7.7 seconds clear of Piana in the BMW now.
Oh, what a shame for the Ginetta. They got a 4th place yesterday. It's not going to happen today. Right, 2 3/4 minutes remaining. This still continues. Luca Link to the inside once again of Cartel into turn 1. Can he take a tighter line through the corner? No, he can't. That's just allowed Alex Connor to pull alongside, but Connor's going to have to go the long way around if he wants to take this position away. Luca Link has the faster line through the corner. Marek Buchmann behind it now sees an opportunity to get past Alex Connor. Connor attacking Luca Link once again, maybe a slight nudge, but now Marek Buchmann attacking Alex Connor. So has a little look to the inside. Cartel breaks clear once again in 5th place, 6th, 7th and 8th absolutely glued together.
Tim Horrell into the pits, I'm afraid, with a problem right at the end of the race from the lead of the Pro-Am category in the number 32 Porsche. Just seen him out of the commentary box window, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's a real shame. So that could hand the lead of the Pro-Am. So Jesper Jensen and Lawrence Rule in the number 91 car. 1 minute and 3/4 remaining of this race. Marek Buchmann's had a track limit warning. That's how hard he's been pushing as they head towards the chicane. Are they going to finish in this order? Who knows? Lucas Cartel in the Supra, riding the curbs. Luca Link has put all the pressure on that he could. Alex Connor has put even more pressure on, trying to challenge Luca Link for that position. 6th place is where Luca Link is at the moment. Alex Connor tucked up behind. Surely this is going to be a move in towards turn 1. This could be the only opportunity he gets before Marek Buchmann is right onto his back bumper again. He has a look to the outside into turn 1, then cuts back to the inside. Link has this covered off at the moment. Cartel just ahead. Now Buchmann onto Alex Connor. He comes. These 4 cars dicing for these positions. Alex Connor having to drive with his mirrors as well, having to draw on all the skill that he's learned over the years, because Marek Buchmann, who's a very, very experienced pilot around the Nürburgring especially, putting the pressure onto Alex Connor, but can he get past? He's to the inside. Alex Connor's going to lose this position here, under braking into the corner, and it's Marek Buchmann up to 7th place.
Nicely done, having done all that work to catch up to them. Who's that kicking up the dust? Possibly Cartel again, or possibly the BMW just behind him of Luca Link, but yeah, having done all that work to catch up to these 3, there's no way Marek Buchmann was not going to have a go somewhere. In the end, it was all about the exit speed from turn 4 to give him a pretty straightforward run down into the hairpin to get ahead of Alex Connor. Alex Connor will be really frustrated by this because he was trying to gain ground. He's ended up losing a place, dropping down to 8th position. The time is just about to run out, so we will be getting our leader over the line to start the last lap of the race in just a moment. Robinson with a diminishing lead, but still a pretty healthy one. 6.2 seconds his advantage over Piana as we're about to go into the final lap of the laps of the race.
Yes, so at the moment, our race leader's up at turns 2 and 3. So about a lap and 3/4 for Alex Connor to do something about Alex Buchmann, who's mugged him for that 7th place. So Alex Connor now having to do to Buchmann what he was trying to do to Luca Link only a lap ago into turn 1. But Buchmann looks to have this under control at the moment, making Alex Connor work hard on the outside line. All of that has allowed Luca Link to break a little bit clearer as the 2 Mercedes-AMG cars fight amongst themselves. Suddenly Luca Link has been given the space to launch a final attack on Lucas Cartel. Our leader is up at turn 8 at the moment, so about a lap and a half of this race remaining. A lap and a half for Luca Link to finally get the move done on the Toyota Supra. If the race finished now exactly as it is, it would be a 6-point lead in the championship for Denny Burnt and Lachlan Robinson, with Piana and Silvesterson just 14 points back with 4 races remaining. Here is the race leader, Lachlan Robinson, who's taken over from Denny Burnt, has led pretty well the whole of this race across the line to start the very final lap. Here comes Gabriella Piana in second place with Maxi Schreier pretty close to him. So Schreier has closed in on, or is that a backmarking one? It's a backmarker, I beg your pardon. Schreier is 7.2. So no, Gabriella Piana, that's a similar looking car, but Piana fairly comfortable in that second place. Schreier in third, Springhob in fourth. So I think the 1, 2, 3, 4 looking fairly solid, but fifth still up for grabs. Lucas Cartel has got to hold off Luca Link for one more lap, but knowing Luca Link, he will see this as his final opportunity to give it absolutely everything. He takes the wider line into turn 1, tries to get that inside line into turn 2. Nice. He's done it. So Luca Link muscling his way past the Supra, but he's gone very deep into the corner. And the Supra, so nimble, able to come back at him on the inside. So Luke is going to have to hang it around the outside. He then comes back to the inside. Marek Buchmann now up with all of them. There's Alex Connor at the back as well. This is great stuff. Lucas Cartel trying to come back now. 5th place to Luca Link for the last time. Into the hairpin they come. Link in that 5th place. Cartel now having to defend from Marek Buchmann and Alex Connor. The very last lap of the race, our race leader up into turn 11 for the very last time. Lachlan Robinson will exit turn 11 and see that checkered flag as he heads out across the start-finish line. It's going to be a 2nd win of the season for Lachlan Robinson and Denny Burnt. Valuable, valuable points for them, and valuable points to Gabriella Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson in 2nd place. Then it'll be Maxi Schreier and Alon Gabay. Meanwhile, further back, behind Jan-Philipp Springhob, this battle continues. Luca Link is going to get that very hard-fought 5th place ahead of Lucas Cartel, and a drag race across the line. Is Alex Connor going to get? No, not quite. Marek Buchmann just beating Connor to 7th place. That was quite a fight for 5th place, wasn't it? Eventually going the way of Luca Link. Great, great racing.
0.8 of a second covering Cartel, Burtman and Connor as they crossed the line. Burtman was a little bit sketchy, wasn't he, coming out of the chicane at turn 10, went wide, and Connor half sent one up the inside, got the better run coming out of the last turn, but couldn't quite get there. There's a bit of pickup going on from Piana, making sure he gets all the sticky bits of rubber, the dead rubber off the racing line to make sure the car is over the minimum weight limit and even taking to the grass there. But Robinson and Burnt, who would have been really frustrated. They felt they shouldn't have got that penalty for that battle, that contact in the end with Silvesterson, between Burnt and Silvesterson yesterday, in what was a humdinger of a battle for 2nd place. They thought they would get the championship lead yesterday. Post-race, they got this penalty, which they absolutely disagreed with. But they've kept their heads. They've come back strong today. They've won the race, and in the end, they've got the championship lead at the end of what has been a really tough, hard-fought, really entertaining weekend of racing here at the Nürburgring. And it is game on in the championship with just 2 weekends and 4 races to go.
And in the Pro-Am race, it's Jesper Jensen and Lawrence Rule who win in the 91 car. Damon Suzushin and Jack James getting 2nd place in the Pro-Ams. Congratulations to them. And the number 10 of Mikhail Manichevsky and Daniel Drexel, the last of the podium positions in the Pro-Ams. There is the points that are awarded. Lachlan Robinson and Denny Burnt, 25 golden valuable points. 20 to Gabriella Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson, and 16 to Schreier and Gabay. Jan-Philipp Springhob, Philip Gogolok with those 13 points. That will be a mega for their championship challenge as well. So it means that to the top of the standings will go Denny Burnt and Lachlan Robinson. And it will be a lead of that 3 points. So it means that as we head towards the last 4 races of the season, it is very, very open. And of course, our next race will be at the Sachsenring. The Sachsenring is an altogether different kind of circuit, lots of undulation, anti-clockwise, and tyre wear, always a massive issue. At the moment, we look at some lovely slow-mos. The Avia WNS Porsche, driven by Alain Gabet and Maxi Schreier, who come home in 3rd place. Making up for the disappointment of yesterday, Gabriella Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson for FK Performance Motorsport in the BMW in 2nd place. But Lachlan Robinson and Denny Bund never looked like they were ever going to be beaten this afternoon in the Porsche 718 Cayman for Avia WNS Motorsport, taking their 2nd win of the season and moving themselves back to the top of the points standings. The cars making their way to our podium that is built specially for this weekend, out in the fan zone so the fans can get up close and personal with their favourite drivers. And once again, GT4 Germany entertaining us, never ever anything other than pure entertainment. Here comes the 3rd place of Maxi Schreier and Alain Gabet. Of course, they took a win at the Nürburgring, so this is their 4th podium of the season. And there you can see the points standings. Alain Gabet, Maxi Schreier still very much in the hunt, 27 points back with 100 points still available.
Yeah, and looking at how close it is and how few races there are still to go in the championship, the number of wins you get might, you never know, might just count at the end, because if you tie on points in the championship with another pairing, then you count back who's got the most number of wins. If that's the same, the most number of seconds. If that's the same, thirds and so on and so forth. Well, it's now 3 wins for Springgob and Goglog and 2 wins for Robinson and Byrne. Only 6 points the difference at the top of the championship table. So absolutely, every point counts. Every win might count as well in what is shaping up to be a thrilling end to the season. But top job done there by Robinson and Byrne, coming back from the disappointment of yesterday, the thrill, the entertainment of yesterday, but ultimately the disappointment to control that race, really, more or less from the start. It was a good drive, a good move in the end from Denny Byrne. He was patient, wasn't he, as well, when he got through to get the lead of the race. Had that battle early on with the Aston Martin of Philip Goglog, got through. But once he got through, Denny Byrne got his head down, built up a nice cushion, and gave a bit of breathing space to his teammate Robinson.
There is Denny Byrne, who congratulates his co-driver Lachlan Robinson. Denny put a video out last night on his social media, and he said, okay, the penalty was harsh, but we are going to do our talking on the track, and we're going to come back tomorrow and we are going to show them who's boss. That's exactly what they've done here, and they have dominated this race. And entertaining race. What a great weekend it's been here at the Nürburgring, part of the DTM platform. Of course, we're on the road to DTM. The winner of the championship, the winners of the championship for the ADAC GT4 Germany get funding to potentially move into ADAC GT Masters. The winners of the GT Master Road to DTM funding to go into DTM. So is Benjamin Silvesterson, are we looking at a driver who could potentially be sat in a DTM car in the future, or maybe Maxi Schreier? Who knows? Gabriella Piana has won almost everything there is to win. He's won at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. He's done numerous championships and won so many times, and he's raced in every race here in ADAC GT4 Germany. And of course, he is a former champion here as well, having won the championship in 2021. So he and Benjamin Silvesterson are going to be absolute contenders right to the end.
And they bounced back as well, didn't they? Because they had even more disappointment yesterday. Ended up out of the points, out of the running after that that contact that they had with the Denny Byrne Porsche. And 5th for that first phase of the race. Couldn't really make any progress early on, but really good pit stop, which helped. And not just the pit stop itself, but the lap in, the laps out, which ultimately helped to leapfrog them ahead of 3 cars, get them up to a 2nd place. It felt like that was probably the most they could get. The car wasn't quite there for the race pace today, but second, they maximised the performance, got perhaps more out of it than they could have, and it's those results, those seconds, thirds, fourths you get when you're not quick enough to win, but you still score good points that really do set you up for being in that championship fight.
Absolutely, and they will look back on this when the season is done and dusted in October at the Hockenheim Ring. May well reflect on this as critical moments in the championship battle. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 2 Porsches and a BMW, and there is Lachlan Robinson having a quick drink before he is welcomed on to the podium. Which is going to happen in just a few moments, I should think. That we get a great look at the number 31, ADAC Motorsport Porsche Cayman. And some great shots from our drone pilot. Big shout out to our drone pilots here this weekend who have done a great job keeping up with this lot. Right, Schumacher Champagne awaits as the third place driver, Maxi Schreier and Alain Gabet, are welcomed onto the podium. So both those drivers, second, well, at least their second year in ADAC Motorsport. They know that car well. Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson. You've walked straight past the second place step. Congratulations to the other competitors. And on to second step of the podium. But what a display, what a statement from Lachlan Robinson and Denny Burns. They have shown their real intent here as they come on to the stage and climb to the top step of the podium. And we'll get a representative from ADAC WNS who do such a big job supporting this championship. They have so many cars on the grid. They do a great job. Their cars are rocket ships. And Daniel Schalas onto the stage and onto the podium to receive a trophy on behalf of the team. So a few moments to reflect as we wait for the trophy presentation. FK Performance looking on there. Daniel Schalas on the right-hand side of your picture, along with Patrick Wagner, the W and the S of WNS. Jürgen Heiker, board member for Sport Deputy Chairman of ADAC, presenting the winners' trophies to Lachlan Robinson on the left, Denny Byrne on the right. And congratulating the other drivers as well. Klaus Hausmann-Busch, board member for local clubs at ADAC Westfalen EV, present the second place trophies to Gabriele Piana. How many trophies do you reckon Gabriele Piana's got? You must have a warehouse full of them. Rarely a weekend goes past where he doesn't take a trophy home with him. Third place trophies to Alain Gabet and Maxi Schreier. Such a lot of talent on that podium. And Daniel Schalas will receive a trophy on behalf of ADAC WNS as well. And I believe that's his daughter who receives the trophy and holds it high as they reflect on what has been a spectacular weekend at the Nürburgring. Great Great racing. Races 7 and 8 of this 12 race season. Round 4 of the 2026 season of ADAC GT4 Germany. We've got a little bit of a break, about a month before we reconvene at the undulating Sachsenring, the 10th to the 12th of September for round 5, the penultimate round of the championship for the ADAC GT4 Germany. Who is the champion going to be? Nobody knows. It really is wide open this year. From myself, Brian Oliver, and Chris Harley, do hope you've enjoyed the racing here from the Nürburgring. We look forward to seeing you at the Sachsenring. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.